It is the O Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, CW. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on any and all platforms. Today, we are talking about who do you want to return post Wrestlemania. WrestleMania is the pinnacle of WWE's storytelling, and the Raw after WrestleMania usually has people get called up from NXT or people debut, like fresh faces debut, fresh signings, and sometimes people return to the company and get put into angles for the year. We already saw some of that happen with Trish Stratus and Lita a couple Raws ago, and now it is rumored that Trish Stratus is going to heel turn and feud with Becky into SummerSlam. So she's going to turn on her team, the triple team, and then have Lita and Becky drop the tag belts to some other team. And then Lita will then go ahead and have her match at SummerSlam with Bex. So if that's one of the plans, that's cool. You bring Trish back, that's a great bring back. But it happened pre-Mania. I'm talking post-Mania. Who do you want to return to the company, if anyone? I will go first because, it's my show. I want Samoa Joe to come back. It's not the most glamorous return. It could have said any name, but I was never a big Samoa Joe fan because I didn't watch TNA. I wasn't up on him, but I do remember people telling me, Samoa Joe's great. Samoa Joe's, strong. He's this, he's that. He's Street Fighter and blah, 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 and this and that and the other thing. And I was like, okay, I believe you. I'm not denying that, but I don't watch that stuff, so I'll never see it. I'll never see that side of him. And then he came to WWE, and he really proved all those people right in my eyes. Every time they put a mic in his hand, he was dangerous. Every time he went in the ring, it was fun. And every time he was in a match where I thought he should win, he lost. So that was the problem with his whole stint in WWE. He didn't win the big ones, right? He didn't get to take out Roman Reigns. He didn't get to battle the other Samoans. Can you imagine if Samoa Joe was around during this bloodline feud now and an active wrestler? He'd be the perfect foil for that, because I remember, I don't remember who told me this, but someone said that Samoa Joe was the only non-Anoa'i, I think that's their last name, right? He was the only non-Anoa'i Samoan in WWE. He was the only one not part of the family. So he was kind of an outsider in the sense that he's not part of that family. Not that he was, I think he was very much loved backstage. And if you watch Up, Up, Down, Down, he was an integral part of at least the Usos' life, because he was back there playing Tekken with them all the time. He was, racking up L's with everybody else. And actually, no, he was winning. He was winning a lot. But having him kind of be the outsider, then they can play up the angle of him being from the island with them and, not being part of the bloodline, but still being able to take them down or something, infiltrate them, what have you, would be interesting. And obviously, Solo Sikoa is WWE's current version, let's say, their iteration of what Samoa Joe is. The kind of, he even kind of dresses like him with the baggy basketball shorts, and he has like street champ or some nonsense on the back of his pants, which is, I'm still trying to figure out why he's called that. They call him the street champ, but he doesn't have like a street match ever. He just came up and he's like, he's a street, whatever that means. But if you look at the way they're booking Solo and kind of his mannerisms, he's taking a bit from, I think, some of his uncles. He's taking a little bit from his brothers, but I think he is channeling some Samoa Joe energy, and bringing in Samoa Joe to take on Solo Sikoa would be, even their names sound similar. Bringing in Samoa Joe to take on Solo would be an interesting dynamic. Now, given how wrestling matches are put on, sometimes you just want to see two big dudes slam into each other. The reason I think their match would be interesting is both of those guys are very agile, very fast, And kind of like Bronson Reed, they can take, to the top rope and do some wild stuff if they wanted to. But, I think they'd be content standing in the middle of the ring and brawling, which would be an interesting match, to say the least. Also, watching Samoa Joe try and get Solo's big behind up for a powerbomb would be a feat, I think. So yeah, I want Samoa Joe to come back. He caught a Raw deal. He was injured. I would say maybe 2 years. The last 2 years, he was injured in WWE, and they put him on the announce table, and he was fantastic. He reminded me of what Taz was on the SmackDown desk, which, if you've ever played any of the SmackDown games, Taz as an announcer is quite possibly the best part of the game. Samoa Joe as an announcer gave me those vibes too. So that's what I'm saying. Like he was fantastic on the mic. He was fantastic in the booth. He was fantastic in the ring. He cut that promo on a ring full of dudes that, sparked everyone's like, oh my God, Samoa Joe's out there. They give him the title. He could do it all. He could do it all. And the fact that he wasn't able to because he was injured and because things didn't line up, I feel is not the greatest injustice to him, but it's definitely a shame, because if he had the IC belt for he could have a long road with that belt. Can you imagine Samoa Joe versus Gunther, the back and forth they would have? I don't even know if Samoa Joe had that title. I don't even know if Gunther would get over. How do you make Gunther get over on Samoa Joe? It's not impossible. I'm sure you can make it happen if you really, really wanted to. And again, Gunther is a made man. He's proven it. He can do it. He can do it all. But I think Samoa Joe would be a fantastic long-term either U.S. title or Intercontinental Champion. And if he were to take on Roman Reigns, if that were to manifest, I think he'd make a great WWE champion too. He is currently dominating over in, I think, ROH. No, he's the TNT champion at AEW. Yeah. So he got his title and he's doing great. Let's not mince words. He's doing fantastic. He doesn't need to be in WWE. He doesn't ever have to go back. But WWE has, once you're in that sort of vein, once they have your name on file, you're never not, out of the running to come back. And I think the more work he puts in, and the less opportunities that get manifested in AEW, if he drops that title and things start to slow down, he could very well make his way back to WWE and kind of close out his career there. I would love it if he came back for one final run, because older wrestlers love doing that. If he came back, put in some time, got the US champ, held it for like 3-4 months or something like that, and then put someone else over, and then put him back in the booth. Let him get back to commentating and calling matches. I would love that if he just, did the Booker T thing. Come back, be the legend, get in the Hall of Fame, sit at the desk, be a fixture on TV and in angles, and then, potentially manage people. Could you, again, I'm fantasy booking off the top of my head, but if he was an announcer and then he got pulled into a Solo Sikoa angle and he became his mentor, he's like, you think you're the street champ? And then he just lays him out and he's like, I'll teach you how to be the street champ, kind of thing. Just puts him down and he's like, I'll teach you the ways of the street, the Samoan streets, boy. And I'm having trouble. And then put him over and then play the MVP role. That MVP was with the Hurt Business. MVP is still a fantastic professional wrestler. He's just older. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He could if he wanted to. He's proven it. He was in the Rumble a couple years ago, and then he can get in the ring and anytime. He's also I believe a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, MVP is legit, and I think Samoa Joe can do that too. So yeah, that's my pick for someone I want to come back. What do you think of the pick? Who do you want to come back post WrestleMania? What angle would you like them to be in? And what title would you want them to hold, if any? Or, maybe some kind of gimmick thing like King or Queen of the Ring. Let me know in the comments. Make sure to listen to the podcast every day or every weekday. Tell a friend, like and subscribe. And don't you ever forget that I am your friend.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.